I want to welcome you on behalf of District Governor-elect Lyle Chase, 7020 and 7030, partnering together to provide great leadership within the Caribbean. We are looking for synergies. We're looking for opportunities where, of course, we can partner on projects as well. So I trust you enjoy the sessions. Today is a tactical session, really making sure the nuts and bolts, you know how to navigate. And we have a premier speaker who was always, upon request, willing to assist us here in our districts. So I trust you enjoy the sessions and welcome aboard.
Thank you, sir. It is my pleasure now to introduce our golden nugget for the day. Now, this is a very, very special person who is just, to me, an amazing Rotarian. Jennifer Jones is from the Rotary Club of Windsor-Roseland. She's a trustee from 2019 to 2023, a past director. She's president and CEO of her own Media Street Productions, which is an award-winning television production company in Windsor. And believe me, when it comes to doing a production, she's phenomenal. Some of you were on and saw the telethon that we had, seems like a month ago, but it was probably only a week. That was all produced by Jennifer, her idea, and she put it all together, and everybody else who was there were just doing whatever Jennifer told us to do. She put that together in a matter of maybe 2 weeks, max. Fantastic job. Jennifer has won all kinds of awards, Service Above Self, Rotary Foundation's Citation for Meritorious Service, the Queen's Diamond Jubilee Medal. I mean, this is a very special person. While she runs her own company, I don't know how she does that and spends 8 hours a day on Rotary, because I know she has to for all the things that she does. Jennifer, I'll shut up in a second, okay? But they need to understand how good a person and how great a Rotarian you are. I'm a good friend with Jennifer and her husband, Nick. He and I love to tease each other. They are members of the Arch Clump Society and the Paul Harris Society, total support of our foundation. So I'd like to ask you, now if we were in a room, Jennifer, all together in person, you would have the biggest standing ovation you've ever heard in your life. So pretend you just heard that. And all of us, please welcome Jennifer in that Caribbean spirit that we have. Jennifer Jones.
Thank you very, very much for the very warm welcome. Now, let me tell you, I said warm welcome. I'm here in Windsor, where for those of you who are on the pre-call, I mentioned that it snowed here yesterday, which is completely unheard of. So today I prepared differently. I'm being an optimist. I have my Caribbean attire on today. So the future is bright. You got to wear shades and you got to eat Jamaican rum cake. So anyway, thanks, Barry, for the introduction. And what a treat to just be able to pop in and spend some time with all of you this morning and to share some thoughts. And first and foremost, let me just say thank you for the incredible contribution that you made to the telethon last weekend. It does feel like it was a lifetime ago, but it really was only last weekend. You know, the first thing I did was reach out to Barry to see if he would be involved. And like every good Rotarian, you know, what's the first thing you do? You say yes. And so thank you so much for your faith and trust and understanding that we had a short window of time, but a big opportunity. And we were able to raise over $530,000, which means that 21 grants got into the field this week of $25,000 each onto the front lines, where, you know, that's going to take care of saving lives. And, you know, a lot of those original grants that went out in the first days of the pandemic were going toward, and still do, towards PPE and ventilators and masks. But food scarcity is becoming something that, you know, there's a lot of focus on right now. And we know that in many areas, many areas of the world, the hardest part is yet to come as the economic impact trickles down. So I don't want to talk about that today. I want to talk about your role as a president-elect. And I got to tell you, there is no better job than being the president-elect. You know what the hardest part I thought of being president of my club was? sitting back down at the end. And Governor-elect Charles, I know you probably felt the same way, because you're stepping up right now to be governor of your district. And, you know, we feel inspired and we see the opportunities that are in front of us. And one of the opportunities for all of you right now is to take a really serious look at your clubs. Do a deep dive. You know, first and foremost, if your club is already meeting online, congratulations. I'm glad to hear that. And, you know, using platforms like Zoom and others has made it an opportunity for us to connect at a time when really we're more disconnected physically than we've ever been in the history of our lifetime. So this has allowed us this opportunity to be together, and that's really important. So if your club isn't doing that yet, I encourage you to make sure that you start and to do a scan, even if you are doing it, and see who's missing. See, you know, who you might need to reach out to bring into the fold. Maybe they need a little bit of tech background kind of thing. But more than anything right now, take a scan of your club to see what's working and what's not. We have the ability right now to be more flexible than we have ever been. Our cheese has been moved in a big way, and if you're going to make change, now's the time to do it. Look at your club frequency, look at your meeting location, look at the time of the day, look at whether or not you decide that you think that having online meetings as a go-forward methodology mixed in with hands-on service and social opportunities, maybe that's a good way forward. The great thing is, and what I guess my key message to you is that you have the opportunity to create this change and make sure that we are seen as the most relevant, vibrant organization in the world. This is in your hands right now. And the secret that I'm going to tell you, there are no Rotary police. And, you know, sometimes you have to, you know, beg for forgiveness and not ask permission. And so this is the kind of time, and I know that that seems maybe a little flip, but now is the time to change things, to try things that are different and think outside of the box. So I encourage you to be change makers, to think about, you know, what is the value that we deliver when someone walks through the door to our club? You know, we ask leaders to join us, and then we make you better leaders. So you get skill development, public speaking, board and governance development, fundraising expertise, all different things that you can apply in your vocational life. These are the things that we offer. So when someone joins your club, we need to ask them, what did you want out of this experience? And then we need to deliver on the promise of what they've asked for. And so it's important for us to be thinking about that. And you know, that they don't walk in the door and that we've sold them a bill of goods that doesn't exist. We say that we're a vibrant, relevant club, and they show up and, you know, we all sit at the same tables and tell the same jokes and do this, you know what I'm saying. We want to make sure that we're relevant. So take a scan of your clubs and think about what you can do right now to make sure that your clubs are the strongest and healthiest that they can possibly be. It's going to be a different year, and it's going to be a different world for some time. But this is your opportunity to take a look around, see what the needs are, and more importantly, see what is important to your members. You're going to have to look at fundraising differently. You're going to have to look at club socials differently. All of that is something that you have an opportunity to take a look at. But I'll leave you on this one last thought. I have been on multiple Zoom calls, as has past President Barry, and I can tell you that what is absolutely blowing my mind is how many new members are being inducted online. And not only new members, I've already been present at the formation, the chartering of 3 new clubs during the pandemic. Now, I know that that's just ones I've been exposed to. There's clearly lots more that are happening. But we are showing to the world what we offer. And that was the big part of doing the telethon. Yes, raising the money was important, but showing people what we do, who we are, how we are people of action, that is our value proposition. So I'll leave you with those. I want to hang out with you for a little while for this, and let me just turn it back over to you, Barry, and let me just wish everyone the very best year. I hope that we're able to travel soon, because I would much rather be in your beautiful part of the world right now than mine. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. And again, thank you for your message. I know everybody has been listening intently to make sure they pick up those suggestions you made. They're all excellent. Very good. I thank you for taking your time, and you're welcome to stick with us as long as you like. And what I'm going to do right now is to show you another video so that we could then move on to our keynote speaker. So I don't know, you have to be inspired. You hear people like Jennifer, you see our Rotary videos, and what we do around the world is so impactful. But as presidents, a lot of you concerned, okay, what's going to happen? Who can help me when I need help? You're now about to meet the person who can be there for you every step of the way if you want her to. Marnie Nixon has been with Rotary International for about 9 years. She works in a department, which I have to tell you, and I probably shouldn't admit this, they're my go-to department. If I have a question of any aspect of Rotary, I go to Marnie or Greg or one of the members of their department, and they always find out quickly what I could do. If there's a rule I'm not familiar with, they could find the rule for me and tell me what to do. Marnie knows Rotary Central and my Rotary. She's been to our district before, so she knows us. She understands our culture. She understands Rotary, and we are so happy that Marnie has taken the time to come to us and explain all about my Rotary, so you're all comfortable with how to use it as a tool. Remember, we want every single Rotarian to be on my Rotary. We want eventually every single Rotaractor to be on my Rotary. That's our goal. Keep that in mind so that we involve all of our members. Now remember, she's going to do a PowerPoint and talk about it. Then she's going to do a demonstration. When she does the demonstration, you can choose the language for your PowerPoints. So now please join me in giving a wonderful welcome from the Bahamas and Marnie Nixon. Marnie.
Thank you very much, Past President Barry. It's so good to be here with all of you, at least virtually. I express similar sentiments to what Trustee Jennifer Jones said, that I wish we could all be together in person. As Past President Barry shared, I have had the good fortune of being present physically in both districts 7020 and 7030 for past PETS, assemblies, and conferences. So this morning I'm thinking very fondly of those memories of those travels. I would like to say a special thank you to Governor-elect Charles for the invitation to participate in this training, and Governor-elect Lyle as well. I have enjoyed working with both of them. You have wonderful leaders in your districts, and so it's so great to be here with all of you. I want to say thank you as well to all of the presidents-elect of Rotary clubs, but I also see we have secretaries-elect and then Rotaract clubs as well for stepping up and being leaders, especially during this time. I know that all of you are volunteers and your time is valuable. And so I want to say thank you for the time that you dedicate to Rotary, to developing yourselves as leaders, and to giving back to your communities. And because we know that your time is valuable, that's why there are people and teams like the team that I work for that are here to directly support you. So I will have sort of two parts to what I talk about. The first, as has been shared, I'll have a PowerPoint presentation that I'm about to share, and then I will take a little bit of time to do a live demonstration of Rotary Club Central in particular. So I'm going to share my screen, and hopefully we can all see the PowerPoint here. Okay, great. So first, to speak a little bit about who I am and where I come from. I am on staff at Rotary International. I work out of the world headquarters, which is based in Evanston, Illinois, although currently I am working from my home, as all of our staff are. And in our world headquarters, we have around 500 or so staff who work out of that office. And then we have some international offices as well, which I'll talk about in one moment. We are led by General Secretary and Chief Executive Officer John Hugo. He started just a few months after I started working at Rotary back in 2011. We have global representation on our staff and through our 8 offices. So as I said, our world headquarters is based in Evanston, Illinois, in the United States. But we also have offices in Brazil, England, Switzerland, India, Japan, Korea, and Australia. And in those offices, we have roughly 200 to 250 additional staff members. One of the things that I love about the team that I work on, Club and District Support, is that we are a global team. We have staff in each one of our offices, and so I have the privilege of being able to work with amazing professionals who speak different languages and come from different cultures and are all excited to support Rotarians around the world. Your specific contact within the Club and District Support team is myself and my colleague Alicia Pijal Avila. As was shared before, I've been at Rotary for about 9 years, and Alicia has been at Rotary for around 18. So together we share both a wealth of experience and knowledge in Rotary, and also very much a willingness to support all of you. We support, in addition to District 7020 and 7030, 33 other districts in the Rotary world, primarily in the southeastern United States, of course in the Caribbean, and then also in South America. Hopefully we looked like friendly faces, but I want to talk a little bit about how we actually support club and district leaders. And there are 4 primary ways that we do that. The first is through policies and procedures. We advise club and district leaders on Rotary's governance documents, and those policies and procedures are intended to help provide you with guidance and direction. You may encounter a difficult situation or a conflict at some point in your club and not know exactly how you're supposed to handle that or if there's a procedure to do that. And Alicia and I can provide guidance on that. We've also heard a lot of talk about wanting to be more flexible, and there are great opportunities to update your bylaws to allow for that flexibility and make sure that everyone in your club knows that that is available, whether that be around attendance or different membership types. We can help provide guidance on making those changes. We can also help connect you to the resources that you need to be successful in your role as a club leader. And those resources can be both human, other staff teams and departments at Rotary, as well as publications. So on the left-hand side of the screen, you see two other key staff teams. We have our Rotary Support Center, and they are a fantastic resource for any questions related to the Rotary Foundation, as well as any general questions about Rotary's website or Rotary's programs. We also have our data services team, and if at some point you're having difficulty making an update to your membership or to your club online, you can send those updates directly to our data services team, and they will manually update our database. And then I have a few examples on the right side of the screen, just two of the very many publications that we have available to support all of you in your various efforts. Thirdly, we assist with administrative procedures, helping your club to operate in the most effective way possible. The most common procedures include chartering new Rotary clubs or new satellite clubs, helping process a name change, or a merger of two or more clubs in an area. And lastly, we provide support with online tools, and particularly helping leaders get the most out of the tools that are available online. Just a few of the tools that I want to highlight. First is the Learning Center. There are a wealth of training materials and online courses available to help you learn new skills and enhance your leadership experience. We have courses that are specifically designed for various club positions, and then other courses that are to help build your knowledge of Rotary or a particular leadership skill. We also have our Brand Center, and I know that many of you are already using that. I saw several of you have these new virtual backgrounds that we have created. Those are available through the Brand Center. And we have many other resources intended to help you share Rotary's story in your community and around the world in a consistent and unified way. So you can use our templates to create your own club logo. We have guidelines for how to use the Rotary marks, and we have customizable materials. You can create a flyer for a club project or an event, and be able to insert your own photos or text to share about that particular event. We also have Rotary Showcase, which has been a particularly important tool in the last several weeks in light of the pandemic. Many clubs are uploading their projects to Rotary Showcase to share the good work that you're doing in your local communities and around the world. So this tool can be used not only to share about your own projects, but also to get ideas for projects that other clubs are doing, and then be able to connect with that club to ask more information. And of course, we want to encourage you, once you post your projects to Showcase, to share those out through social media so that you can inspire your friends, your family, your coworkers, and your neighbors as well. And lastly, we have Rotary Club Central. And this is the tool that I'm going to spend a little bit more time talking about today. I do want to make a sort of special note. So the previous tools that I just talked about, those are all accessible to both Rotarians and Rotaractors. And anyone can utilize those tools to take courses or to access the logos on the Brand Center or post projects to Showcase. At this time, Rotary Club Central is specifically available to Rotary clubs. We are in a process, we've been in a process of finding out what it is that Rotaractors want in their experience in Rotary. Since the great decision to elevate Rotaract and highlight its importance within our organization and put it sort of on equal footing with Rotary clubs, we've been doing a lot of research to figure out how can we best support Rotaract clubs. So at this time, Rotary Club Central is only available to Rotary clubs, and we're continuing to do research to find out what Rotaractors want. So I'm going to now switch into a live demo, and this is where past President Barry was saying that you will have an option to select whether you want D7030 admin, which will be the French, or the English, which would be Marty Nixon, my own view. So in one moment here, I'm going to pull up the live demo portion. Okay, so you should have an option at the top of your screen, and this is particular to if you have a laptop or a tablet. Unfortunately, if you have a phone, it seems it may not be available to switch your view. But if you're on a laptop or a tablet, you can, in the upper portion where it's green and says view options, you can change to view Marty Nixon, my own screen that I'm sharing, if you need the English version. So allow you just a moment to make that change. And then what I first want to show is how to access Rotary Club Central. So we are on the My Rotary website, and as past President Barry encouraged everyone, it's important for you all to create an account on My Rotary if you have not yet done so, because there are certain tools and functions that are available specifically to club officers, and we want you to have all of the tools available at your disposal that you need. So when you're on the My Rotary website, there are a few different ways to get to Rotary Club Central. The one that I like to highlight is under this Manage section, because there are a few other pages that you might be spending time on here as well, such as club administration or looking at reports. So when we click on Rotary Club Central, that is going to take us to this landing page, which is the dashboard. And what I want to highlight about this, as Trustee Jennifer was sharing and encouraging you all to do a scan of your club. And this is one of the tools that can help you do that scan to learn more about where your club is at, where it's going, and how you want to continue progressing in the future. So on this dashboard page, you have several different graphs with trends information about the number of members in your club, gender, age trends, project trends, and then the annual fund. And what you'll notice on this page, there is some data that is populated automatically by what Rotary has in our database. That would include all the data about membership and demographic, as well as foundation giving. District Governor-elect Charles asked me specifically to highlight this age trends area. Now, in this particular club, it's great. We have a lot of reported information. There's only one member whose age has not been reported. This isn't typical, though. For most clubs, there is a fair amount of unreported data. And so what we want to encourage you to do is to update this data if people feel comfortable within My Rotary in your club's membership list. Currently, that's something that the current club officers would be able to do, and then come 1 July, all of you incoming officers would be able to update this age information. There are also some details that are only as complete as the data that you provide to us, and the project trends is an example of that. So these graphs are going to be based on the information that has been entered into Rotary Club Central by your club. So this is a great starting point for you to see where your club has been in the last several years, and to use that data to then inform your decisions about the goals that your club wants to set. There is a note here about how quickly the data refreshes. So know that if your club adds a new member today, for example, it may take 24 to 48 hours for that information to refresh and be reflected in Rotary Club Central. Now you'll notice at the top here that you do have the option to view these graphs for different levels of the organization. So you can view the data for your district. In this case, we're in District 7030. For your zone, we're in Zone 34, or even for the whole Rotary world. And you will notice that the graphs are changing as I clicked on each of these tabs at the top. So once you've had an opportunity to look at this data and get a better picture of where your club is at, you can go into the Goal Center. So I click on Goal Center from the left-hand side of the screen. And the important thing to note here is that your ability to edit goals is directly tied to the year that you are serving as an officer. So as an example, all of you who are 2021 presidents and secretaries will have the ability to edit 2021 goals for your club. And that access to edit can be right now, as long as we know in our database at Rotary International that you are an incoming president or secretary for your club, you will have the ability to edit. But first, we're going to take a look at just the viewing mode. Any of your members have the ability to come into Rotary Club Central and view the goals that your club has set for a particular Rotary year. So in this viewing mode, what a club member would see is only the specific goals that your club has selected to work on for the year. Once we move to edit mode, so for all of you, you will want to advance using this arrow to the 2020-21 year. We're now in this editing mode. We have the option to view the goals either by category, so members and engagement, Rotary Foundation giving, service, young leaders, or public image. Or if it's easier, you can simply click on this All tab. That will give you the list of all of the goals available within Rotary Club Central. You'll notice that there are several goals as an option. And it was never our intention that you have to set every single one of these goals. There may be some goals that just aren't relevant for your particular club or for this particular year. So the way to set goals and indicate which goals are actually relevant for your club and you want to work on is by checking this select goal box. and then you have the option to enter the goal. Now, before you enter the goal, it may be helpful to click on this link here that says Show Goal Details and History. This will give you more background information on what the goals have been previously for your club and the achievement for the last 5 Rotary years. Now, again, some of this is dependent on whether your club actually set a goal for one of those years. But you can use this information as a reference point so that you set a goal that is both challenging but also accessible. So as an example, I'm just going to put 41 for this goal here. And then we can scroll down and look at the next goal, service participation. We can view the history for the last few years, see our achievement. We decide that this is a goal that we want to work on. We check the box for select goal, and then we would enter the goal in the box here. Now you notice that for some goals, the achievement will be automatically populated by the information in Rotary's database. So an example of that would be this club membership goal. Right now the achievement says 0 because we have not yet started the next Rotary year. But once it starts, you'll notice that this information is automatically populated. For goals such as service participation, the only way that we can know the achievement is if you tell us. So we encourage you to come back throughout the year to indicate your achievement of these particular goals. Now, once you go through and you look at all the goals and you select which ones your club wants to work on, you of course want to make sure that you click the Save button. Now, in this particular case, I don't want to save these goals. I should not be the one setting the goals for the Rotary Club of Port of Spain, so I'm going to click Cancel here. But that's the basic process for goal setting. And I really want to encourage all of you to make this a collective process. So there are specific individuals who have the ability to enter goals, but it should still be a collective decision within your club and your club board as to what it is that you want to work on for the coming year. Now, a key point to note is who actually does have access to enter these goals. I know that it's primarily presidents-elect and secretaries-elect who are on this call and this meeting right now, but the treasurer, the membership chair, foundation chair, and also executive secretary, if your club has one, have access to enter goals if needed. And again, that corresponds to the particular year that you're serving in that position. There's one other type of goal that you can set and indicate a little bit more detail, and that is this service activities area. So we're going to click on this. And you'll see here that we're still on the 2020-2021 year. Now you have the option in here to repeat a past project. So if your club has previously entered projects into Rotary Club Central and there's a project that you do maybe every quarter or every year, you can click on this option and those projects would appear here. And once you find the project, you would click on this Copy Project button. What that does is it copies the data over from the last time that you did the project so that you only have to update the details that are new for this particular time. So you would update the date of the project. You might update some of the metrics for it, which we'll see in a moment here. You can also import projects from Rotary Showcase if you already uploaded them into that tool. So we're going to walk through as an example adding a new service project. And you'll see that some of the fields are required. So project title is required. I'm just going to make up a project title here. Project summary is optional. You do have to indicate a start date. So we'll say that this project is going to be done on Saturday the 18th. You can put an end date, particularly if it's a one-day project. If it's open-ended and you're doing it throughout the year, you can extend that date or leave it open. And then there's some key metrics to enter. And I want to take a moment to just highlight the importance of entering this type of data. We really want to have collective information about the volunteers and the number of volunteers and the contributions that Rotary clubs around the world are contributing to their communities. And so this information is really important for us as an organization to then be able to share with the world about our impact, to be able to find partners for projects. It's really important to enter this type of data. And so there's two columns here, one for projected and then later for achievement. So for projected, as an example, let's say this project needs 5 volunteers and each volunteer would contribute 2 hours. So we're projecting 10 hours total. If you have a projected amount of cash contributions, you would enter that here. We don't have every single currency, but we do have several options to choose from. Value of donated goods and services. So for example, let's say we're collecting cans of food and we're estimating a value of 500, in this case we'll say US dollars, worth of those canned goods. And then lastly, you can select categories for the project. So we'll say this is a community project and we'll say it's disaster response. And you can also indicate partners. So we'll say we did this with our local Rotaract club, partnered together, and also with a few other clubs, Rotary clubs in the area. Now the idea is that you can enter this project information as soon as you start planning for the project. And then once you complete the project, you would come back into Rotary Club Central. You would mark this toggle to project complete. And then you would enter in the achievement. So maybe we planned for 5 volunteers, but we actually had 6 sign up and that was really helpful. So they contributed 12 hours. And then let's say we superseded our estimate for value of donated goods and we actually received 600 US dollars worth. And once again, you of course want to save this information once you're finished entering it. But in this case, I don't want to commit this particular club to this project, so I'm going to go ahead and click cancel. And then all of the service projects that you enter, that information would then appear on this screen here. Again, your club members can come in and view the information for those projects. They can view the summary data, which is based on what your club has entered into Rotary Club Central. Now, briefly before we get to questions, I also want to highlight that there's a resources section. And if you need a refresher or just want to view this information again, we do have guides that help walk you through step-by-step what I have just showed you about how to enter a goal, report on your progress, enter service activities information, and more. And we also have other resources to help you achieve your goals. The point of using Rotary Club Central is not to just check a box and say that we did it. Our governor asked us to, and so now we're done, or Rotary asked us to. It's really to help you focus for the coming Rotary year and to achieve the goals that your club wants to achieve. So we have this resources section to point you to different publications or videos or courses that will help you in these various categories. We also have reports, and these reports can be helpful in tracking your progress, as well as doing that scan that Trustee Jennifer was talking about, learning more about your club its history, what achievements you've had in the past, and where you'd like to go in the future. And these reports, you also have the option to view different categories. So the reports related to members and engagement, Rotary Foundation giving, or service. And lastly, you do have an option here if you want to return easily to the My Rotary website. There's a link to do that right here. So that was a fair amount of information. I also know that we're on video and it's easier to get tired or to lose focus. And so I want to pause and just see where we're at, see if questions are coming in that I can help answer. So Past President Barry, I'm not sure if there's some questions that have been coming in that I can help address at this time.
Absolutely, Marty. We do have a number of questions. And let me get back to the beginning of these. First from Michael, he's saying that as district chair, how can I ensure that clubs have the option to designate a chair for their respective committee, and so that I can try and provide support and assist them?
That's a great question. So the positions that we collect are president, secretary, treasurer, membership chair, foundation chair, and executive secretary. Those are at the club level. If there are additional positions, and we know that there are, that clubs have, and those positions need access to be able to edit goals. So again, everybody can view this information, but if those positions need the ability to edit goals, there is an option on the My Rotary website to delegate access to another individual. So this would happen come the 1st of July for the audience that we're talking to. They would be able to delegate their role as a president or as a secretary or as a treasurer to any other committee chair position or active Rotarian in their club. I can also, in response to that question, just say a note that district leaders do have access to this information as well on Rotary Club Central. And district leaders technically do have the ability to edit goals for a club. That's not the intention. We really want clubs to be entering their own goals. It's really just if there's a club that maybe needs a little bit of extra help. If a district leader does enter a goal on a club's behalf, the club would receive a notification email so that there's transparency about that process.
Okay, from Prakash, question on Rotary.org. When you go to manage club administration part and click club invoice, it still shows the website is showing having technical difficulties. This error has been showing since the last several months. Please help.
Interesting. So for that, what I would actually recommend is emailing our finance team. I have not heard of that issue overall. We do have a page on our website for the finance area. So I will show how to find that here.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, Sean is following along in French. So we're on rotary.org/representatives. And this will give you an option to select finance representative and district 7030 or district 7020. And if you forget these options, you could send that email to me and I will forward it on to our finance team to look into why that issue is happening.
Great. And Navin as well said that I have the same question as Prakash we just covered, and how to make membership fees invoice in Rotary.org.
Yeah, so that's another question that our finance team would be the experts on here. They are able to provide guidance on how to make payments for those invoices, to understand the breakdown of what you're being charged for. And if you aren't able to access your invoice for some reason, they can send that to you.
Great, thank you. And from Karine, are some category goals more important than others or even mandatory?
That is a really interesting question. So from Rotary International's perspective, no. Certainly, so our idea was to provide a menu of options, understanding that in different places around the world, in different districts, in different clubs, some goals may be more relevant, more important than others. So that I would leave up to your club to determine. Though I would also say your district governor, in this case your governor's elect, are there as a resource and to provide leadership for you. So there may be specific goals that they are really interested in having clubs set because they want to know that information. There is no mandatory requirement to set all goals, but it can be helpful if you're deciding that it's just not a goal you're particularly concerned with, to just select the goal and then put 0. I would hope everybody's setting a membership goal at least, which is where I'm at right now. But for other goals, if it's just not something that's particular to your club or particular to next year, you can always set that goal as 0. And that indicates you've set it, but it's just not something you're focusing on right now.
Yeah, thanks, Marty. It would be important for you to understand what is important for the president-elect of Rotary and what he's asking, and what's important for our governor-elect and what he's asking. I would say she, but we don't have any she's in those positions. Know what they are so that you at least cover those goals, and then add to that as you see that is important to you. Next question from Leah Lowe. Are projects uploaded to Rotary Club Central automatically shared, uploaded to Rotary Showcase, or is there an option in Rotary Showcase to pull from Rotary Club Central?
Great, so it kind of works 2 ways, but the way that it works is you would be within Rotary Club Central here. So I'm going to navigate to the service activities area. And when you have, when you're on this page, you have the option to import from Showcase if you've already entered the project there. The idea though is really that you're entering it in Rotary Club Central first because you're planning for it. And then once you enter that project, there's an option to push it to Showcase, to upload it to Showcase. So that upload would happen from within Rotary Club Central as a starting point.
Perfect. And from Grayson Stedman, Marnie, could you show us how to add or edit member information?
That is a good question. I'm not sure actually I'm set up right now to fully demonstrate that, although what I will do is there is a guide, just because I'm signed into my own account right now, and I'm not a club officer, so I don't have that access. But I will pull up the guide for how to add a member briefly here. And I'm apologizing if Sean is, because he's doing, again, the French, following along with this particular question. But what you would do is you would go to the Manage section and then Club Administration. And this editing access, again, begins when you start your term as a club president or secretary or treasurer or those positions that I referenced. Then there is a specific option that says add, edit, or remove members. And then you'll see the list of your membership. And if it's a current member and you're updating their data, so for example, if you're adding their birth date, you would click this edit option here. If you're adding a new member, you would click the add button. And then it will walk you through the option to, if you're adding a new member, if this is somebody who's been in Rotary before, even if you're not sure, we recommend searching to see if they're already in our system, in our database. And when you're searching, less is more. So just put a last name or just put the name of a club if you have it. Because if you enter too much information and it doesn't match our system, they won't show in the results. And then of course it walks you through these options to add key details about the individual member. So again, that's going to be in this manage section and then club administration.
Okay, and from Alicia Lake, how do you calculate the volunteer hours? Let's say if we had 5 volunteers and we spent 2 hours at the event, is it 5 members times 2 hours? So would be 10 hours combined.
That would be, yes, the general interpretation is that you want to take into account the collective hours of all of the volunteers, because we then want to be able to share, you know, collectively as a club, we volunteered 10 hours. If you say we volunteered 2 hours, it's a bit misleading because you, in this example, had 5 people, they each did 2 hours. So we want to be able to share that it was 10 hours collectively.
I think you covered some of this before, but from Rainessa Watkins, is Club Central available for Rotaract clubs?
It is not right now. There have been conversations in the past year to try to figure out what Rotaractors want. So we didn't want to presume that we know, or that we didn't want to force tools upon Rotaractors. I haven't been personally involved in that research, but I know that there have been conversations about what different tools we want to share with Rotaractors based on the feedback that we're getting. And I do also know that there's a very concerted effort to improve the My Rotary website overall, so that the functions that Rotaractors have, such as updating membership or club information, accessing reports and things like that, is a lot more smooth. So we very much have Rotaractors in mind, and we're so excited to continue supporting Rotaractors and elevating their status in new ways. But at this time, Rotary Club Central is still only available to Rotary clubs.
I have to add my comment to that, Marty. Before I left my position as president, I requested the General Secretary to create a priority in their enterprise projects to make sure that Rotaractors have equal access as Rotarians. Unfortunately, we have a lot of enterprise projects and a lot of money goes into those. So, and you got to kind of take them in order. So I'd ask Rotaractors to be patient, but it is a priority to get Rotaract equal access. It will happen. Just give us a little time. It does cost money and we have to allocate the funds as we have them. Next from Mark, if you want to generate Excel spreadsheets of contact information of all members, how would you do that?
So there is an option, and I can't demonstrate it just because then I would be showing people's contact information. But when you are looking at the reports that we have available on My Rotary, so this would be under Manage and then Reports. There is a report of club members within your club. And when you're on that reports page, there is an option to export the report to an Excel document. So that does exist. What I would caution, just in the world that we're living in, is how you save that data and how you're sharing it, because we see phishing schemes all the time. We see Rotarians getting contacted that they don't know how their contact information was shared. So Rotary does a lot to protect your data and make sure that it doesn't get shared in ways that it shouldn't. And we're asking all clubs and district leaders who have access to that data to have that same concern for protecting that. So it is possible to export it to an Excel once you're looking at that particular report. And if somebody needs help walking through that on a more one-on-one basis, I'm happy to assist with that.
Okay, Marty, and Lindsay asked if you could please clarify that Club Runner does updates automatically.
Yes, so provided that your club has set up that integration, it should. So there is sort of a two-step process. Part of it is within Club Runner. You are indicating that you want to send the information to Rotary. And then the other part would be on Rotary's website under Manage and then Club Administration. There's a section for indicating that Club Runner is the local club management system that you're using. And then that should turn on that integration. I don't have access to Club Runner, so when there are questions about that integration, it's best to go to Club Runner directly. But if there's the club that's not sure if they're set up on Rotary's end properly, that's something I can help with.
Lindsay says that the majority of 70/20 clubs are synced, so they're updating in Club Runner automatically. So if we have questions on Club Runner, don't go to Marnie, go to Lindsay. That makes sense.
Yeah, I would think at this point, most clubs are set up properly. I believe your district's been using it for a number of years. And so it'll only be if you're noticing that there's data not getting updated, but it should be set up for everyone.
Okay, and from Lucretia, can I make another Rotary account with the same email address? And how can I disable the current one?
That's a good question. So there is a possibility, instead of creating a whole new account, you can change your username, and that would be in this account settings area up at the top here. There's an option to change what your sign-in email is. So you would just use that to indicate that you want to use a different email address that you have.
Okay, just to remind those who are French is your first language, you're certainly welcome to put in your French question and we will get it interpreted for you. Let's see. From Carl, there are two reports links, Club Central and under Manage menu. It's confusing. Any plans to merge both under one place?
I sympathize with that comment, to be honest. And it is something that I have shared as well. And so I thank you for that feedback, because receiving that is then something I can pass along as well. I know that we are in a project to make the parts on My Rotary that are to enhance My Rotary overall. And some of the first initial steps are, what are the pages that club officers are utilizing and have access to, and how can we simplify those? I would have to double check if the reports is part of that, but I can share with you that that's something I've noticed for years. And so I, again, appreciate that feedback, because it's something that I can pass along as well. So I don't have an immediate answer for you at this time, but I can say thank you for the feedback. It's definitely heard, and I will share it again.
Great, thank you, Marnie. And we'll cover a couple more questions and then we'll close out. From Genevieve, there is a goal that covers district conference attendance. How do we measure that, given our conference was canceled? Do these sessions count as a replacement? I might add to that is that we will have a conference, but it will be a virtual conference. So hopefully everybody appreciates that in 70/20, Delma Maduro, our governor, will have a conference virtually.
That's great. Yeah, so I would say you can, for those who are in 70/20, can certainly use that virtual conference then as the goal. Okay. When you're entering that. And that's a good opportunity to say too that you can update the goals at any time throughout the year. So this pandemic is a prime example. Sometimes the world changes or your community changes and you need to adjust your goals. And so if that happens, you can go into Rotary Club Central next year, and I encourage you to go in every month or couple of months to check on it and update the goals as you need to. You would simply, if the goal is selected, all you have to do is click in that box and then you can change the goal however you'd like.
Let's see if I get this right now. From Jean Bien-Aimé, I never be able to go to my Rotary because the email I am in my files does not exist anymore. And I also forget the password I use for it.
Yes, so that is something you can email our data services team, simply data@rotary.org, and they will make sure that your email gets updated. They can help to reset your password. Sometimes there are cases where somebody has two records because they tried to create a new account and one of them might have the wrong access, and they can merge those as well. So basic access issues with your account, the data services team can quickly help resolve those.
Do me a favor, Marty, repeat that address because when you were saying it, it got garbled.
Yes, it's data, D-A-T-A, @rotary.org. And I'll pull it up on the screen here as well.
Perfect. Thank you. It kind of ties probably into this week, so as to get it back.
I'm sorry, you cut out for one moment. I'm not sure if I heard the full question.
If they lost their access to my Rotary, what's the process?
Yes, so that can be an email to data
Then access
services as
back.
well. If an account is locked, so if you enter the incorrect password too many times, it can only be resolved by data services can generate an email for you to be able to reset your password and all of that.
Great. And from Aniska, are the updated guides available for the different club positions such as secretary, treasurer, et cetera, available?
If I'm understanding correctly, like the manuals for the different officer positions, those have been converted into online courses, and those are within the Learning Center. So let's see if I can, actually I'll pull that up on here because that'll be easier for our French speakers as well to see. So the Learning Center, you can see that there are different courses for different positions. So there is a course for club president basics, for club secretary basics, treasurers, etc. And there's actually a full learning plan. So it will walk you through which courses are most important for your role to be aware of. So those manuals are now in this course format and available within the Learning Center. And if you'll give me one moment, I can show you where the link to the Learning Center is. So when we're under Learning and Reference, there's a link on the right-hand side to the Learning Center.
Great. And that goes beyond just those positions, secretary, treasurer. You'd also have manuals for community service chairs and other chairs of committees, correct?
Yes, so there's one for membership, for foundation. What we showed on the screen here, there's a club administration one. So there are other committees that Rotary recommends and has training materials for.
Okay, and I think we're going to call it at that. I do have a note from Genevieve to remind all the 7030 members that they also will be having a district conference, and it also will be virtual. So both districts, we've got our conferences coming up, and they're being organized right now so that we can get that done. Marnie will walk us through what isn't always easy for those who aren't used to that kind of thing. And if they haven't done it before, there's a little nervousness about jumping in and making mistakes, but don't worry about the mistakes. Just jump in and play. And you know, you can't destroy it. All you can do is learn what works and what doesn't work. But Marty, you've given us some great information, some great suggestions. Thank you so much for taking the time to help both districts out as to where we go, and for always being there for us. As I said when we started, we know you're there, and it's just nice to know that anytime we have an issue, we can turn to Marnie. So thank you so much.
Thank you. My
And
pleasure.
yes, everybody. So with that, I would thank everybody for joining us today, and I wish you all the best. We've actually got 2 days off before we come back to continue our President-elect training. We're almost halfway done. Imagine that. We've been grinding through the President-elect training, and that's good stuff. Charles or Lyle, I don't know if you would like to close with a couple of comments.
I'll dub to Lyle.
Sorry there, mate.
Lyle, would you like to close with a couple of comments?
Okay, I thought Charles was going to do that today, but it's my pleasure. Ladies and gentlemen, friends, we've had a really great session today. I've looked at the feedback, and Marnie, you've nailed it. Jennifer, you've nailed it. And I think that we are just showing how well our districts are adapting in this time of difficulty. But as we say, every challenge is an opportunity. So let's seize the opportunity. Let's walk through those doors, and let's just show the world how great Rotary 7020 and Rotary 7030 really are. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lyle, District Governor-elect, and thank you, Charles, District Governor-elect. Your leadership, bringing us together, working together, is going to take us way beyond where we've been in the past, and that's fantastic. Thank you for that. I'd also like to thank all the current governors, the future governors, the nominees, the designates, the past governors, all who joined us today. We've had a lot of dignitaries, even husbands of past governors like Roger White, ambassadors to the UK from Barbados. You know, it's just amazing who comes online to join us for these. So I thank you all, every Rotarian, all your presidents, secretaries, treasurers-elect, and all our invited guests. Thank you. Enjoy your 2 days. Get your energy back. Be ready for the next energetic session so that we could deal with conflict. But I know none of you have any conflict in your clubs. But just in case, we're going to have some fantastic talk. You don't want to miss that one. It's going to be really wonderful. So thank you all. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you soon.